The people of Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir are the victims of worst Indian state terrorism for demanding their inalienable right of self-determination, which has been guaranteed to them by United Nations and promised by Indian leadership. To muzzle the voice of people, India has deployed over 700,000 troops in the occupied state who are marauding and brutalizing Kashmiris with atrocious vengeance. They're engaged in wanton vandalism and systematic genocide of Kashmiri Muslims with no compunction. Equipped with black laws like Public Safety Act, Armed Forces Special Powers Act, Disturbed Areas Act and TADA, posting in Kashmir has become a lucrative option for Indian forces. They even bribed to grasp and retain this opportunity. They have the license and impunity to kill, retain and torture any Kashmiri Muslim, irrespective of age and gender. They are free to ravish the modesty of women, vilify elders, torch and blast business establishments and homes. All this is permissible to them for the sake of showing progress in curbing the ongoing legitimate movement for freedom. Encouraged and lured by this colonial policy of Indian government, men in uniform rampage humanity, trample judiciary, unleash state terrorism and curb rights and freedom, and even disgustingly justify all this because they enjoy the patronage of their government, which claims to be the biggest democracy and is also signatory to Universal Declaration of Human Rights and other human rights laws. They get out of turn promotions and cash rewards for shameful and inhuman acts like repression and genocide of subjugated people. Since 1989, these savage forces have killed nearly 100,000 Kashmiris, which include men, women and children. Youth have suffered worst in the turbulent years as the Indian forces suspect them to be freedom fighters. It is this section of the society that has borne the brunt. They are killed, tortured, harassed and detained. The youth have become the most endangered species in the state, as for every male youth there is an Indian army soldier with a gun in his hand.
जब हम बाहर निकले तो हमने एहतिजाज पुरअमन जुलूस निकाला तो इन लोगों ने हम पे गोलियां बरसाई इसमें 5 लड़के एक तो शहीद हुआ अभी 5 लड़के कुछ पुलवामा अस्पताल में भी है.
The most tormenting aspect of human rights violation by Indian forces is custodial deaths and enforced disappearances. In the onset of the year 2007, the exhumation of dead bodies of Abdul Rahman Padad, Maulvi Shaukat Ahmed, Ghulam Nabi Wani, Ali Muhammad and Nazir Ahmad Deka in Gandarbal and their subsequent DNA tests established the flagrant phenomena of disappearance and killing of Kashmiri youth in custody and fake encounters by Indian occupation forces. While custodial killings in Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir by occupation forces are acts of profound savagery, they have plunged thousands of families in economic chaos and despondency. The syndrome of disappearances and fake encounters is widely prevalent and unheeded too. Indian forces pick up young Kashmiris during crackdowns, siege and search operations and vanish them forever. The victims include men of all ages, including juveniles, and very old, of all professions, including businessmen, lawyers, laborers and teachers. According to Association of Parents of Disappeared Persons, the organization of relatives of missing youth, over 10,000 persons have been disappeared by different Indian agencies, most of them married males. For years, the families of the disappeared persons, most of whom are feared killed in fake encounters, have been moving from pillar to post.
बीएसएफ वालों ने उठाया, आर्मी ने उठाया, सीआरपी वालों ने उठाया, टास्क फोर्स ने उठाया, इकवानू ने उठाया. फिर इधर बहुत केस है, एपीडीपी के बारे बहुत केस है, इधर हंदवारा, बांडीपोरा, इधर इस्लामाबाद है. फिर मैं गाँव गए, इससे मेरे से हालत बेहतर है. उनके पास 3 बच्चे, 4 बच्चे, उनके औरतें हैं, उनके घर वाले पकड़ लिया, उनके पास न कोई फीस किताबें ना कोई खाने पीने, वो बेचारी परेशान है. इधर कोई इंसाफ नहीं मिलता. फिर हमने फाउंडेशन डाला, वो भी उठाया, हमने रैली किया, वो भी उठाया, थाने में बांध रखा. गाँव में ज्यादा हालत खराब. उनके मिलिट्री साथ आता ना, शाम को घर जाता, तू क्यों गया कोर्ट में केस करने के लिए.
बच्चन हज प्रॉब्लम ये क्या परनस लेखनस गस तिमन आसन रॉपिय दह परनावहक लेखनावहक हेहर बाब से करा मजूर वक्तस आस तमिस हेकत वक्तस आस न तमिस हेकत बह क्या कर पे उस मोल मोज तो सत गुजरा प्यारा तमिस इंतजार कर
Relatives of disappeared persons holding the photographs of their near and dear ones protest almost daily on the roads and streets of Srinagar, but instead of giving them detailed whereabouts of their kith and kin, they are brutalized for demanding justice.
इन सब के बेटे हस्बैंड्स को उठा लिया जाता है सिक्योरिटी के नाम पे और फिर उसके बाद कभी भी उनकी कोई जानकारी नहीं है, उनका कोई पता नहीं है.
The discovery of mass graves in the far-flung areas of occupied Kashmir in 2008 shocked the relatives of disappeared persons, as they believe that these graves are of their missing kith and kin, who are picked up by occupation troops, killed in fake encounters, terming them as foreigners. The locals confirmed that the persons buried in these graves were declared by occupation forces as non-Kashmiris, although they were local youth.
तो जब हमने देखते देखते अब हमारा दिल भी पत्थर जैसा बन गया. देखते इतनी हालत खराब होती है इनकी. चेहरा नहीं, एक दिन एक बॉडी, उसका सर बिल्कुल अलग था. वो पहचान नहीं जाता, वारिस भी नहीं निकलते बाद में. वहाँ से आते हैं और छोड़ते हैं अस्पताल में कि ये इनकाउंटर में डेड बॉडी मिलिटेंट है, वो है ये, हमको वो पता नहीं.
Women and children are the worst affected by turbulence and insecurity prevailing in occupied Jammu and Kashmir, who are destined to life of misery, pain and despondency. The brunt on fair sex is immense. They are molested, raped and even gang-raped with least fear of punitive action. They are facing all sorts of hazards at gunpoint and are rendered highly vulnerable in the given circumstances. Their honor and chastity stands at stake. Indian Army use rape and gang rape of Kashmiri women to psychologically paralyze, humiliate and intimidate Kashmiri people so that they give up the vigorous peaceful struggle. Violent crackdowns, dusk to dawn curfews, siege and search operations and bait-in charges and frisking has brought the business to grinding halt. The Amarnath Shrine Board row was another effort to cripple the Kashmir Muslim economically and punish them for demanding their inalienable right. 800 Canal Kashmir land was granted to Amarnath Shrine Board, consisting of non-Kashmiri Hindus, with the intention to settle them in the state and turn Muslim majority state into Hindu Rashtra. Under the law, Kashmiri land cannot be sold or transferred to a non-Kashmiri, and consequently the people's strong reaction to this underhand deal was justified. Enraged Kashmiris converged on the roads to register their disapproval of the shady deal. The Hindu extremist groups like RSS, Bajrang Dal and VHP, with the backing of Indian agencies reacting in vengeance, blocked the Srinagar-Jammu highway to stop trucks from transporting essential commodities including life-saving drugs to the valley. These fanatics burned fruit-laden trucks along with the drivers in the presence of Indian forces.
उधर हुआ मेरे साथ इन लोगों ने मेरे ऊपर पेट्रोल पंप फेंका है, मेरे को जलाने की कोशिश की, मैं पूरा जल गया.
किस जगह पर?
इस सांबा से आगे 3 किलोमीटर है.
और कौन कौन जला आपके साथ?
मेरे कंडक्टर भी जल गया, मेरा मालिक भी जल गया.
This economic blockade resulted in the shortage of food and starvation in the valley. It caused the loss of billions of dollars to the traders of the valley.
जब से ये श्राइन बोर्ड का मसला हुआ, करोड़ों का नुकसान हुआ है. हमारी गाड़ियां लूटी गई हैं, मतलब सांबा में, विजयपुर में, उधमपुर में.
Arrest, killing and torture of Kashmiris who go to Indian states in search of jobs, business or study have assumed a pattern. Being a Kashmiri has become an unforgivable sin in India. Killing of Rashad Ahmed, an automobile engineer, by Delhi police is one of the glaring examples of Indian mentality towards Kashmiris. 25 years old Irshad of Chandpura, Srinagar, went to New Delhi for a job where he was arrested and killed in custody through inhuman torture by Indian police. His dead body was thrown on a road to give the color of an accident. The nightmarish situation that pervades in Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir leaves no room for freedom of expression. In order to hide its atrocities, Indian government has banned the entry of all human rights organizations in occupied Jammu and Kashmir. It is the effort of some courageous human rights activists that some crimes of occupation forces have been exposed. Attempting to silence the dissent or critics is a sign of an abusive regime. Numerous human rights activists, including famous human rights lawyers Jalil Andrabi, have been killed for exposing the crimes of occupation forces against humanity. Human rights lawyer Pervez Imroz in June 2008 survived a grenade attack outside his home by occupation forces. The local press in Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir is under constant siege. The journalists trying to highlight the plight of people and cover atrocities committed by Indian occupation forces are killed, tortured and beaten charged, and the cameras are confiscated and broken. The sorry state of affairs prevailing in the state has surely invited attention of peace-loving people all over the globe, but has failed to bring any relief to the most vexed Kashmiri victims of violence.